Good morning, everyone. This is Richard from Guidance by Richard, starting a new series of interviews, picking out a community. Community is important for all of us, and I am excited and happy to have our guest speaker today, who's going to tell us a little bit about herself, KEESHA Harris. Yay! KEESHA, it's a pleasure to have you on. You're actually going to be the first one for this series, and I'm excited. It was wonderful to meet you and talk to you separately from this venue, but today is an exciting day for us to have you on to even speak. So if you don't mind, KEESHA, tell me a little bit about your background.
Okay, I am glad to be here. I'm glad to have this opportunity. Thank you. Well, I'm from a small town in Carthage, Mississippi. And I'm married with children. I have some grandchildren as well. I'm a former educator of 15 years. I decided to leave the classroom because I wanted to do something else. And I thought that going into my writing, publishing my story would be something good. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm writing, podcasting. I'm into self-healing. I've started selling health and wellness products as well, because I think it's important to, for the mind, body, and soul, to be healthy and aligned. And basically that's me.
Awesome. So KEESHA, tell us a little bit about, I know you obviously an author. Tell us a little bit about your books.
Okay, so I wouldn't say that I'm a writer. Reading is basically my passion, and it kind of led me into wanting to see my story, on paper. So, I've been reading since I was 4 or 5 years old. And, reading was like an outlet for me. Being the seventh child of 9 children, you kind of get ignored. So reading, it took me on journeys that I would never imagine. So I just wanted to, see what that was like, my story to be on paper. So I started journal writing when I was during my teenage years. And I just started to jot down experiences about my family and friends, and how those experiences affected my everyday life. So in 2017, I decided to tell my story of transformation. I call it transformation because, oh my gosh, I had a story to tell. I didn't know where to start, so I found someone who could put my journal writings together to tell my story. So we worked together for a little over a year, and then boom, 2019, I self-published on Amazon and I became an author. The title of my story was Connecting with My Inner Me. And I called it that because this little person inside of me was talking to me the whole time throughout my life, and I just ignored this little voice. And then one day, this voice said, I know the thoughts that I have toward you. I don't hate you. I'm not angry with you. I just, I just want you to be okay. And I heard this voice, and it was so real to me. And I wanted to know more about that. And so that's why I named my book Connecting with My Inner Me, because I got to know that voice. That voice was with me the whole time. That voice was with me when, when I was being mistreated, or, when I was doing things that I know I shouldn't be doing. This voice was always speaking to me, and it waited patiently for me to answer. And I did. And I'm glad that I did.
So that inner voice you speak of, what would you equate that to? Is that God? Is it just you? What part? Because I think it would be great to the audience that kind of you help people understand that connectivity is important and that relationship kind of shows up different for everyone else. And as a result of that relationship, you was able to come up with your story.
Well, I would say it's my higher self, my true self. This person that knows what I want and what I need at all times. And this voice was trying to guide me and show me, but I was in my own way. And so I look at this person as, I don't know, she's just another part of me, a separate part of me though, and it's just kind of weird. But even during my meditation times with her, she always show up. She's always there to let me know I'm okay. You're okay. No matter how I'm feeling, whatever emotion I'm going through, she always say it's okay, because she wants me to be free. She know that I want to be free. I never knew how to gain that freedom, but she was always there to encourage me. So she's like my my higher self. I guess my inner guide, I would say.
I like that. Let me ask you another question, Keisha. What inspires you?
Um, to start writing, the reading. I could read anything, just anything, and I just thought it would be cool to see my story, to read my own story. I thought that was like the most exciting thing ever. So reading led me into that, to
Okay.
wanting to see my story.
And how long was that process for you to go from the inner self to you to kind of writing everything, getting it down? And the second part of that is obviously you talked about the inspiration with that, but how long did you already have some information that you already maybe you was already had a list of your stories already written? How did that come about and how long?
Just journal writing during my teenage years, and 2011 is when things started to hit me. I started to hate my job. I would throw up every day, every morning when I got ready to go and be with those little kids. I would just throw up because and I loved what I did, but eh, I was just, I needed something. Something else was just pulling at me and calling me, and I needed to answer that. So I kept ignoring it, of course, yes. But one day I got up and I said, I got to leave this job. I got to do something else. And when I got home, 2017 is when I actually took a sabbatical from my job. I took off a semester just to decide what I wanted to do and where I wanted to go. And that's when I decided I wanted to tell my story. I said, I'm going to write a book. And I researched and I found someone to help me put it together. And she took my journal writings and she put it in an order, and she helped me create my story. And I was like, oh my gosh. I mean, I just couldn't, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe all the stuff that I'd gone through. I didn't even know, at that point, how strong I was, until I actually looked at my story and read those that final book before I published. I was like, oh my gosh, look at the things that I've gone through, the things that I've overcome. Some of those things would have broken people, I mean, just, take them away from here. But my inner me kept me. And I'm so appreciative of her. I love it.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So tell me about what couple of things. How many books do you have out and the titles of those books?
Okay, so after publishing Connecting with My Inner Me in 2019, I've published two other works, Connecting with My Inner Me 2. And that story talks about how my life has been since I've connected with my higher self, with my inner being. And the other book is entitled 21 Day Meditation Steps in Your Journey to Self Healing It talks about how I've used meditation to heal different areas of my life. 2015, I started researching meditation because I had been hearing so much about it. You know, people I would come in contact had started talking about meditating, and I never got into anything like that. I never thought that I could clear my mind and reach a certain level spiritually. And once I started, oh my gosh, it's the best feeling in the world. I mean, meditation saved my life, I feel like. Just being able to calm myself and let things go. Because forgiving was a big issue for me. You know, I was holding on to things that I shouldn't have been holding on to. And meditation helped me with that. And I just feel like I'm a better person because of that. And the 21-day meditation book, it's great. It's great. It's a great resource for anyone that wants to get into meditating. I also have short stories and poems that I self-published on an online reading site called Wattpad. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
No.
Yeah. So, but that's basically it. But I'm looking to go into, to more books and stories, maybe venturing out into children's stories, maybe. But I got some things in the works.
Do you think it's easy for you to either gather up these stories and kind of illustrate them?
Um, I can come up with the ideas, but having the help to put them together, and that's my biggest issue. You know, I can come up with ideas and what I want, but having the help to put them together is what I need because I'm not really a writer, but I know what it's supposed to sound like.
Yeah, fortunately, we have a lot of different ways with technology now to kind of look at some of that stuff to help us, So that's great though. So, and
Mhm.
then another question I have is, I know you mentioned is the time frame. How much time when did you kind of formally set, okay, over how much time you say as far as your writing goes? How much, was it a year? Was it 2 year? I know you mentioned took you about a year.
Yeah, it took me about a year to work with my ghostwriter to get it together, to
Hmm.
get it the way I wanted it, to make sure we had everything in it, make it flow the way I needed it to flow. It took about a year. I started talking to her in 2017, and we started to, you know, formulate questions and, take my pieces and put them together. So about a year.
So, what do you want to be remembered for?
I guess having this passion to help others. I've always felt good when I help someone, even with the children. That made me feel good. So I guess I just want to be remembered for helping someone, making someone else's day, making someone feel good.
You think you've accomplished that so far?
I think so in some ways. I mean, I've had some children come back to me and tell me how much they appreciated my help, or I couldn't have done this without you, Miss Harris. And I feel pretty good. Even when some adults reach out to me and say, I'm listening to you. I've read your story. I'm listening to your podcast, and I'm changing. I'm using those tools to help my life, and that makes me feel good.
That's amazing. Who do you
Mhm.
see yourself? Who's your target audience, and what demographic you trying to kind of hit?
Well, I guess anyone that my story resonates with. I just want, you know, people. My goal in writing my book was to inspire readers to love themselves unconditionally and to connect with their inner being so that they may discover their true selves as well. So, whoever reads my book, I'm hoping that it resonates with them in some type of way, you know.
That's really inspiring. You know, I'm really fascinated by you. I had a chance to look at some of your writings. I had an opportunity to look at your website. It really, really looks really well. So how can someone reach you? What ways is the best way to reach you?
Well, through social media is one. On all my social media sites, I have my website listed, um, and I have great help. I don't know what I would do without my person. I love him. He's really been putting me out there pretty good and kind of keeping me on the right path. But yeah, any Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all of those will have my website listed. Everything is under Keisha Clayton Harris. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, it was quite a beautiful interview. I look forward. I'm sure other people will you'll be inspired by you and also be interested in purchasing your books and supporting you. So I'm hopeful that through this venue, it gets you more exposure and another set of people to touch your story. And I appreciate you. I appreciate everything you're doing. And I continue to want you to grow and inspire and find yourself that, don't stop what you're doing. I think it's not truly the beginning, it's never the end, but I appreciate you and your time.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And I'll be sure to share your connection. I'll have your LinkedIn, then people can go in, they can subscribe to you, they can join you, and we'll have this on YouTube. And it's been an awesome conversation with you. Thank you so, so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Talk to
There
you
you go.
soon.
Okay.